I do want to get into some really sad news from baseball. A legend, a true legend of the game, no matter what team you root for, and that is the news that unfortunately Tom Seaver last night, 75 years old, battling Lewy body dementia, also had COVID-19 according to reports. Unfortunately, has passed away at the age of 75 on Monday night with the news breaking last night. Really sad. Like I said, this is a man obviously revered around baseball. 311 career wins, which is, I mean, now that seems like almost impossible to reach. It seems like a million wins. 3-time Cy Young Award winner. And then, when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, set the record for the highest percentage of vote, 98.8%. As you've seen, Mariano Rivera was unanimous, the first unanimous player to be in the Hall of Fame. With just 3 other players, Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, and Ken Griffey Jr., only have higher percentages into the Hall of Fame than Tom Seaver. Poster boy for that 1969 Mets team, really credited with the revitalization of the Mets. When it comes to them, starts in 1968. Mets are just a total dumpster fire. They stink. Wins Rookie of the Year. Puts the Mets on his back. And then 1969, obviously, they shock the world and win the World Series. But like I said, this is different than a lot of celebrities passing or a lot of just legendary players passing. Because being 26, obviously, I don't get to see a lot of these guys that are older now. I don't really get to see a lot of them playing. So it's a little different when you hear the news of other legendary coaches, players passing away, because it's, you know their history. You've seen maybe some grainy highlights for the most part, but that's all you get. You know they're really good. You know they're really impactful for their time. But Tom Seaver is a lot different, not just because I'm a Mets fan, because this is really, growing up, at least in my house, growing up as a sports fan, I watch sports, I learn sports, I'm a fan of all the teams my dad rooted for. Right? I followed in his footsteps. He's a Colts fan. He loved Johnny Unitas. I'm a Colts fan. He's a huge Mets fan. Love Tom Seaver. That's why I'm a Mets fan. And that's why this is definitely different. Getting the news last night, that was the first person I thought of was him, because this was his guy. Likes the Mets now. Again, likes the Colts, like Peyton Manning. Love Johnny Unitas. But Tom Seaver, by far and away, was his guy of all sports. Favorite player. Always talked about Tom Seaver. Especially now, the cool part during the pandemic, I mean, the cool part, obviously, take it with a grain of salt, but because there's no sports on, because there's really no content on for the last 4 months, a lot of old Mets games were played, and obviously, you see 86, you see the ground ball down to first base, but what SNY did is they played a lot of 1969 highlights as well. They played the entire World Series against the Orioles, and my dad was in his heyday. You get to watch Tom Seaver again pitch, you get to relive that 1969 year. And that's a lot of highlights. That's a lot of memories you don't really hear about too often anymore. So that was really cool that you get to watch Tom Seaver again, watch him mow down the Orioles, watch his greatness battle away. At least personally, family-wise, implication-wise, being that this is his guy, being his favorite player. And my parents actually met, of all days, not at the game, but the day the Mets retired Tom Seaver's jersey back on July 24th, 1988. Dad goes to Shea Stadium. They retire the big 41, first Mets player to ever have his number retired. Goes out, after the game, meets our mom. So Tom Seaver's always kind of had that connection in our family, not only for being his favorite player, but obviously, again, kind of going to that day, reliving all those emotions of watching your favorite player growing up as a kid, seeing the Mets retire his number, and then a few hours later, meeting your future wife. So again, really, just a sad day, but also it's a good day in terms of you see all the memories, you hear all the stories now on social media. That's one of the great parts about social media is that you have a lot of people that can react instantly, share stories, share memories, even just, a small passing by of meeting Tom Seaver in the hallway or passing by him trying to get his autograph as a kid. That is one of the great points and great parts of social media. That allows for everyone to have a platform so you can share these great memories, share these great stories when tragic news like this happens. Speaking of tragic, though, I do want to say this really quick. Ridiculous. In classic Mets fashion, by the way, how there is still no statue of Tom Seaver. And really sadly that he won't never be around to see it. Now, obviously, because of the dementia, he retired from public life last year. And the really sad part is that was just a month before when the news came out that he is no longer will be in public life. That was just a month before the Mets were going to celebrate their 1969 50-year anniversary of that team winning last year. So it's a shame that he won't be around to see it. But there's a player right now. You talk about just Mr. Met, the franchise. Tom Terrific. The Mets have really dropped the ball, the Wilpons specifically, in really honoring their best player in franchise history. They say a statue's in the works. Honestly, I'm no statue creator. I'm not really sure how long it takes to build a statue. I don't think it takes a year, to be completely honest. I'm not really sure, especially when you have multi-million dollars like the Wilpons do, owning a team. Pretty sure money talks. You pay just the right amount, that statue will get done pretty quickly. So it's a shame that, the statue's not up yet. Hopefully it'll be up, now that it seems to be, fingers crossed, Stevie Cohen is in line to buy the team. Hopefully he'll put that statue up and put it up quickly. He's a Mets fan, lifelong Mets fan, old enough to remember watching Tom Seaver play. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he will right the wrong the Wilpons have done so far and not honoring their past, not honoring the history that Tom Seaver has brought to this organization. But again, really, really, really sad. 75 years old, one of the best pitchers we've ever seen in the game, just in the game. Not just Mets players, not just back in the 60s and 70s. One of the best pitchers we've ever seen pitch. We've had, at the time, great players opt out, but none quite have the impact, lower the ceiling, as much as the opt-out we had yesterday, in my mind. And that is quarterback from Georgia, Jamie Newman. He's a transfer. He played his career at Wake Forest, transfers to Georgia once Jake Fromm goes to the NFL. He was supposed to be the guy that kind of reinvent the Georgia offense, bring it to the 21st century, and really give them a legitimate shot to win the title this year. Yesterday, Newman announced he's opting out of the season, going to train for the NFL draft. And now JT Daniels, another transfer, this time coming from USC, assuming he's healthy, because he tore his ACL last year, assumed he's going to be the starter in just over 3 weeks from now when Georgia starts the season. But this is the reason why I think this is the most impactful, because Jamie Newman, not taking away anything from him, he's not as talented as Jamar Chase. He's not as talented as Micah Parsons or Caleb Farley. He's not the most talented player to opt out. But he does have the most impact, and here's why. First of all, he's really the first major quarterback, right? Jamar Chase, wide receiver. Micah Parsons, linebacker. Caleb Farley, cornerback. As we know in football, quarterback drives the bus. So he is really the first major quarterback to opt out of this season. And with that, Georgia coming in this year, really high hopes. They're number 4 in the preseason AP poll. They were relying on Jamie Newman to juice up their offense, give them a dynamic that they did not have the last few years. And that was athleticism. As you know on the show, around draft time, I really liked Jake Fromm. I thought people were too hard on Jake Fromm. I thought they criticized him too much. And maybe it was because, I just really liked the way he played as a true freshman, going to Notre Dame, winning that game on the road when I thought Georgia really had no shot, and then leading his team to the national title game and leading them to a lead in the national title game, nonetheless, against Alabama. I thought he was unfairly criticized at times. But what can't be, pushed to the side or can't be overlooked is that the Georgia offense was predictable, sluggish, and it really was plodding. They had great talent everywhere. Right? Some talented, skilled wide receivers, great running backs. And it's been running back the last 5 or 10 years from now. But they just could not get anything going offensively. They relied a lot on their defense. And despite Alabama moving to a spread offense, kind of opening it up, LSU doing the same, Auburn doing the same, Florida transitioning to a more pass-first offense, Georgia's felt like the last few years has kind of been stuck in the old SEC ways. Line up, 3 yards, cloud of dust. Now, they had explosive runs because they had really good and talented running backs. But their offense never evolved to match the wide-open spread offense concepts that have really taken over college football. And that was what Jamie Newman was supposed to be, because Jake Fromm did not have that skill set. He's a pro-style quarterback. The offense that they had with him was under James Coley last year was very, very plain Jane. So now you bring in Jamie Newman, an athletic, versatile quarterback who throws the ball deep. You pair him with Todd Monken, the new offensive coordinator who loves to throw the ball deep. So you had a great pairing right there. Georgia's offense for the first time really under Kirby Smart was going to be exciting, was going to be high-flying, was going to be explosive. And now, with Jamie Newman opting out, that offense is not the same. That offense is not going to be as explosive. It's not going to be as exciting. And I honestly kind of worry that they take a major step back. Because guess what? Here's what concerns me. I'm really concerned about JT Daniels' fit in this new offense, in this spread, throw deep kind of offense. Because guess what? Similar to Jake Fromm, JT Daniels himself, a very highly touted recruit who reclassified in high school to go to USC early, so he's still very young. But he came in very hyped, struggled to adjust to the college game a little bit in his freshman year, tears his ACL in the first game of his sophomore year, and then obviously decides that he's not going to win the job, he's going to go somewhere else. Well, I say all that to say this. I'm concerned about JT Daniels' fit as a pro-style quarterback into a spread offense type of system. Because he did struggle as USC tried to go more air raid. They tried to open it up more and throw it more. He struggled. He wasn't under center. You're in the shotgun basically all the time. So I don't think it really is a good fit when you have a guy used to play action, used to getting the ball under center, used to handing the ball off, making some quick throws, to now have him be, make a one read, open it up, throw the ball deep, be athletic. That's also part of running a wide open spread offense is that you are athletic. You can make plays with your feet. If it's not there, you can scramble out, throw on the run. Those are areas he struggles with. Not to mention, being a Penn State alum, I have a little shirt on, representing today. Still very hurt that the Big Ten's not playing, but nonetheless, we persist. But as a Penn State fan, I have experience in watching a pro-style quarterback try to fit in and blend in with a spread-type offense. And at Penn State, I watched the last 2 years of Christian Hackenberg, the first 2 years of the James Franklin era, or my last 2 years at Penn State. And let me tell you, if you don't remember, if you were blessed to not watch that, it was brutal to watch. Christian Hackenberg did not fit what James Franklin wanted to do. James Franklin wanted to, again, will have your quarterback be athletic, have some quarterback runs, open it up, spread it out, and make plays with your feet, make plays with your arm. Christian Hackenberg could not do that, did not do that. And it really bogged down the offense. It made it impossible to watch, and it was ugly. Hint, spoiler, there was not much offensive success in the last 2 years of Christian Hackenberg's career. There just wasn't. And I'm concerned that same thing, trying to plug a square peg into a round hole, with JT Daniels fitting into a different system, I'm concerned that same thing is going to happen in Georgia this year. So that's why this decision for Jamie Newman to opt out is so impactful. Because you not only take your starter of a top 4 team in the AP out, which is big time, but you also change the entire dynamic of the offense, and you revert back now to an offense that you specifically try to change this offseason because it wasn't winning you games. The plotting 3 yards on a cloud of dust, line up in the I formation, quarterback under center, try to punch you in the mouth system just doesn't work anymore. Teams have evolved. The SEC, really, the last 2 has evolved. Alabama, Nick Saban of all people, have moved to a spread offense. It's all about, what used to be, a defensive-minded head coach, win the game with physicality. Now it's change up his style. Now it's all about the air raid. Now it's all about throwing it deep, making plays with his wide receivers. Georgia is still yet to do that. They've tried to do that. It's not their fault that Jamie Newman opted out. You respect his decision, but it hurts them. And to me, it really lowers their ceiling. It lowers their ceiling so much in my mind that they go from not only, I think, a college football playoff legitimate contender. I don't want to say lock just because they play Alabama in the regular season. And in a COVID year, it's a little different. I understand, obviously you don't have the Big Ten and the Pac-12. They're basically close to a lock for the playoffs you could get, assuming all things go pretty well for the most part. No catastrophic injuries. So they go from that. Obviously, I think that takes a hit. To be honest, I don't even think they're SEC East favorites anymore. Forget the SEC. SEC East, I don't think they're even favorites in their own division. I really like Florida. I really do. I think Kyle Trask showed some flashes in his first year last year. They come back. They bring back a lot of their players. I like Florida. I really do. And now you have Florida going against JT Daniels, again, a pro-style guy trying to fit into a spread system, which to me, it does not work. Players have struggled. The offense have struggled. Kirby Smart now, without really any choice, has to go back to the offense, the exact offense he tried to get away from.